Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to this video on my channel. My name is Vectura, aka John, and today I want to showcase you my endgame version of a Plants guide using Entangle and Thrashing Vines on top for boss damage. Quick disclaimer, this is, as I said, an endgame version of this build guide. In the leveling process, I just did a somewhat normal Oracle Entangle character. So this guide specifically is on the higher budget because you will need a Lineage support that today came out, which is Atziri's Communion. It does seem to drop in price. I wasn't sure about it, so I bought it for more divine than it is right now. But it seems like it's dropping, so you can just wait, I guess. It says, supported skills reserve a percentage of your maximum life equal to 66% of base spirit reservation. What it does not say explicitly here, but what is done is it removes that instead of spirit. So, as Oracle, we of course are using cast on crit. This, without quality, costs 100 spirit reservation. With this support gem, however, as you can see, it doesn't cost anything more, right? We instead just reserve some of our life for it. And that's not only good because we have more spirit to then go Blasphemy with Temp Chains or any other thing you want to socket into Blasphemy. I think Temp Chains is the best, but you could also go with like Enfeeble or the new, what's it called again? Not this one. Oh yeah, Repulsion. You could also go this. It's just personal preference, I guess. You can test out different things, right? And Convalescence. So you can have all of these three things with only your base 100 spirit, which alone is very, very OP. But there is even something arguably even bigger that comes with this. Since Cast on Crit has 100 spirit, and we remove 66% of our max life, we are at 34% of max life. And for those of you who don't know, under 35%, you are considered low life. With 34%, we are exactly low life. And low life is something very, very OP in POE 2, especially when it comes to casters, but also just in general. There are various interactions that are very good. And only Ascendency right now that had access to this on the plant builds was the Lineage because of Eternal Battery, I think it's called, which makes your life not change when you have Energy Shield. So then they could just use Life Tap on a skill to make them low life, and then it just stayed at this level, right? But now, because of this new Lineage support, we can also go low life on Oracle, which in my opinion makes Oracle way, way, way stronger than Lich endgame. Why? Because first of all, we have inevitable crits, which just means cast on crit is gonna go bonkers, right? We crit with every hit. Second of all, we have a really, really good utility with Oracle because of Walk the Paths Not Taken, and especially because of non-keystone passive skills and medium radius of allocated keystone passive skills can be allocated without being connected to your tree. And this is very strong. We will get to there in the passive tree section of the video. Okay, now some other topic I want to discuss real quick because some of you may be asking this. We are sitting on 450 life right now, but other than with Lich and Eternal Battery, we can still lose life, right? Our life can change. So you may be asking, well, what's with bleeding and with poison, right? Can't this just insta-kill you? Well, yes, theoretically it can. That's right. That's the downside. But there are ways to go around this. Not fully, of course, right? If like a 10,000 physical damage hit hits you and infects bleed, okay, then you die, right? But from such a big hit, most builds would die also without the bleed. So I guess it doesn't matter, right? But how do we go about this? Okay, so there is a very cool life flask, Blood of the Warrior life flask, which says 30% of damage taken during effect recouped as life. This flask lasts over when rolled at the perfect value of 50%, 7.5 seconds. We also take 30% increased flask effect duration, which basically brings this close to 10 seconds. So if I press this, you can actually see the bar going down here, right? And as you can see, it's quite a long time. So only now I have to press it again. That's something you have to do while it's mapping. With Lich, you have to cast Thunderstorm every now and then. With this build, you have to do this every now and then, right? I guess this is even less pressing than on Lich. I would assume. I'm not sure. That's just something to keep in mind, right? On top of that, we go for some recoup on the tree. I do not think it's actually that needed, but it just makes you tankier, right? So I go with it. Okay, there are some things that we haven't discussed yet. This flask. Okay. So that being out of the way, this flask actually grants us even something on top. Something very, very good. It says, gain 5 rage when hit by an enemy during effect. No inherent loss of rage during effect. Okay. So maximum rage is 60. Where does it say? Here. 60 rage. And normally, when you do not actively gain rage, after 4 seconds, you start losing it. Very quickly, right? 5 rage per second lost. But with this flask, you do not lose rage while it's active. And guess what? This flask is perma-active because we are pressing it every 10 seconds. So, this means if you let yourself hit at the beginning of the map, you will have 60 rage the whole map. So why do we need this, you may ask, right? Rage gives more attack damage. Well, we have this node right here, which makes this, again, even crazier, which says every rage also grants 2% increased spell damage. And you can see where this is going, right? That's from one passive point, 120% increased spell damage. That's just insanity. Absolute insanity. And that's where you begin to see also why Oracle is so strong compared to Lich. Because we can just allocate it. If a Lich player would want to get this, they need to invest 3 more points. So we get 120% increased spell damage for 1 point. They would get it for 4 points. Which is also good, don't get me wrong. But like this is just way, way better. Let's go over the skill gems first. On my second weapon slot, I have Sigil of Power. We only use this for bossing. I have slot into it Magnified Area 2, Prolonged Duration 2, Cooldown Recovery 2, and Rapid Casting 2. Okay, Reap. You can ignore this, to be honest. I don't really use it. I guess you could put it in just in case you do not have any mana anymore on a boss fight, because this doesn't use mana. But it's not really part of the build, right? So I won't go over it now, but you can see it in my and the POE Ninja that I post in the description down below. I don't even know if these supports are optimal right now, because again, I don't really use it. Okay, now we come to our main skill, main clearing spell, and also bossing ability, Entangle. We have put in Accelerated Growth 2, Branching Fissures 2, Execute 3, Physical Mastery, and Heft. So, without being low life, you could not do Execute 3. But because we are low life, we can actually take this, which again makes it so much stronger. 30% more damage is huge. And on top of that, we have another 30% more against enemies that are low life as well. So that's just insane. I don't think I have anything to add to that. It's just crazy, right? Then we have Thrashing Vines. Again, our bossing ability. We have Concentrated Area, Considered Casting, also Execute 3, Physical Mastery and Heft. These are the same. It's just very good damage. On our Cast and Crit, we have Thunderstorm. In order to overgrow our plants. Then we have Astral Projection, Boundless Energy 2, Efficiency 2, and of course, Atziri's Communion. In Blasphemy, I right now have socketed in Temporal Chains with Magnified Area 2, Ritualistic Curse, Slow Potency, and Hexbloom. I'm not quite sure if Hexbloom does actually work. I'm gonna be honest. I tried to test it a bit. It did not seem to me as if it works. I'm gonna be honest. But since I can't have enough spirit for the support gem that does like increase curse, let me see. Like this one. Hate and Curse. Because it has 130% reservation multiplier, cost and reservation multiplier. Because I don't have enough spirit for this, I just put Hexbloom anyway, because if it works, it does. If not, I guess it doesn't do us any harm, right? Then, last but not least, we have Convalescence with Second Wind 3, Cooldown Recovery 2, Prolonged Duration 2, and also Clarity 1. Again, here, if you have more spirit to spare, you could also go for Clarity 2. Okay? So, what does our map clear look like? Well, we just go around and press right click with Entangle. We get mana on kill, by the way, with our jewel. That's basically everything you have to do while slapping, right? Maybe if there's like a very tanky rare, if you are stacking monster effectiveness, you can also put down Thrashing Vines. And it's gonna be fine. Then for bossing, the rotation is gonna be Sigil of Power, Thrashing Vines, and then just spam Entangle and Mana Flasks. You will have mana issues on bossing. That is the only like problem with this build, I'd say, is the mana issue, especially when it comes to bossing. Mapping is again not really a problem, as we will see in the map run through. But yeah, these are your skills. Convalescence, of course, for those of you who don't know. You begin recharging Energy Shield and prevent it from being interrupted. So it's basically just your panic button. We also have only like 2.3 seconds Energy Shield recharge delay and a Energy Shield recharge per second of 1.6k. So we do not need Convalescence for tankiness, but it is still very good to have, and since we have the spirit, we should definitely take it. It makes us even more tankier. Let's shortly go over my gear. I have in some slots quite expensive gear, like very expensive, and in other slots I have gear that I could upgrade. First of all, as you can see, I have Ingenuity. Why is that? Why do I not have Headhunter or Mageblood? Well, I just do not have the currency for that. Okay? So, I personally think Mageblood would be best on this build if you have the currency for it, with like at least one Quicksilver for 30% move speed, and if you want to rarity of items found, 45% I think it is. But it doesn't really matter. You can see for yourselves, right? What can be rolled on Mageblood. I think Mageblood will be best, but Headhunter, of course, is also very, very good, right? These two are very, very strong. If you can't afford these, just go with Ingenuity as I have. It increases the bonuses from your rings, which is also like very neat, right? So you can also just go this one. Mana Flask, nothing special. Okay, for charms, because we have this poison and bleed thing, we on top of the recoup go one bleed charm and one poison charm. These unique charms, by the way, are also very good because Bleed Charm also creates Consecrated Ground on use, which is 5% of maximum life regeneration per second and reduced effect of curses. And with the Poison Charm, you get life recovery equal to 20% of Mana Flask recovery on top when this is used. So, also very good. Then, last slot in, I would recommend you a Freeze Charm. There is a unique Freeze Charm, which is also very good. It begins your energy shield recharge when it procs, but for some reason, this charm is bugged on my char. As you can see, it shows 0 out of 0. And I first thought it's just a visual bug, but I actually got frozen a lot during mapping with this. So I don't know why this is. If you know, please write it in the comments down below. But for me, I can't use this right now. It is bugged, so I'm just using like a regular normal one. If this gets fixed, you should use this. Okay. Then to my staff, it's ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous. You do not have to have such a good staff. I also didn't have one prior to yesterday. Okay. What you ideally want to have on a staff. I'm just gonna go over it. You, of course, want high spell damage. You want gain damage as extra lightning. Gain damage as extra fire is optional. You do not have to have this. You could instead also have just more increased physical spell damage or gain extra damage as extra cold. Then you want to have, of course, this is very important, as much to level of all physical spell skills as you possibly can have. I have +7 and +1 on the rune. Then this modifier, if you're crafting a weapon for yourself, is very good. It gives you 39 to 47% increased cast speed. The normal perfect essence only gives you... let's check. Oh, sorry, it's a greater essence, not a perfect. My bad. It only gives you 38 to 43. So this one is just higher, right? And on top of that, you get gain % of elemental damage as extra cold damage, although I do not think this works. Because as you can see, I don't have any cold damage here, so maybe this is still bugged. Because we have elemental damage, as you can see. So the way I am understanding this, it should technically be 12% of these two as extra cold. I don't know why it doesn't work, but even if this does for some reason not work with our build and it doesn't work like that, this cast speed is still better as the compared to the other cast speed, right? Okay, on the Desecrate right now, I have increased cast speed when on low life. It's fine. Just more cast speed. Again, we are profiting off of this because we are always low life. But I think ideally you want to have either critical hit chance tier 1 or critical spell damage bonus tier 1. I got really unlucky on this. I used 2 ancient jawbones with 2 Omen of Abyssal Echo. And first time, best thing I got was mana regeneration rate, and yet now on the second Desecrate, so I had to use Omen of Light, I just got this. I did not get showed once crit hit chance or crit spell damage, so that's unfortunate, but it happens. But yeah, just you know what you ideally want to get on a staff. Also, in the rune department, again, +1 level of all spell skills, 12% of damage is extra lightning damage. If you want to know, by the way, how to craft the staff, write it in the comments. If more people want to see how to craft this, it's very expensive though. let me say that it's very, very expensive, this craft, but it is 100% deterministic with just enough currency. If you want to see this, write it down below in the comments. I will post a video on how to do it. Okay, let's go over to the helmet. Basic stuff. You want increased energy shield, you want resistances, everything else is bonus, like energy shield recharge rate, rarity of items found, or crit hit chance you can also get on a helmet. This is just bonus. You first off want to max out all your resistances on whatever gear. This is the most important one. And then, of course, as much energy shield as possible. My helmet isn't that insane. It's like 5 divine. 5 divine is, I know, not low, but compared to my other gear, for example, compared to my staff or compared to my body armor, this is very bad. But it's enough, right? Even less is enough. Okay, so, and we take 8% of damage taken, recouped is life. Rune or Soul Core in here again. Just again, more recoup to compensate for the fact that we can still lose life. Amulet, also not great. I don't have +4 level of all spell skills. But other than that, actually very decent. We don't need Spirit with this setup, so you can have an amulet for cheap, I guess. It does give us quite some defenses. Well, I can't show off right now, because if I take this off because of the int, my other attribute requirements aren't met. But yeah, this is quite good. Then our body armor. On this, again, you just want to have as much energy shield as possible, and then resistances also, of course. On your rings, there are many things you can have on, many good things. My rings, to be honest, my rings are shit. I'm gonna say it straight out. My rings aren't good. With the new breach modifiers, you can craft some really nice caster rings. Just look into it, POE 2DB, what you can have on rings. There are multiple things you can go for. So I don't even want to say what to get on the ring, because it's really dependent on your other gear and what you want to get. But yeah, this is my first ring, for those of you who want to see. And this right here is my second ring. This ring actually is really nice. I also crafted this myself. This turned out really, really nice. This is definitely the better ring of the two. Then boots. Another time we profit from the low life. We get on these boots 24% increased movement speed, which is crazy. Plus the 35%, of course. So this alone makes to a very fast clear, a very fast build. Of course, if you have Headhunter or Mageblood later on, you will be even faster. Like, you will be, like, it's insane. I can show you right now. That's how it looks without sprinting. And that's how it looks with sprinting. It's very fast. And also, my cast speed is very fast, right? So it feels very nice during clear. Then, for gloves, this is very important. You want to play Night Scale gloves on this build. This does help with your mana problems. And you want, on the runes, 8% increased cast speed and 30% increased magnitude of non-damaging ailments you inflict, which basically is shock for bosses, right? With our extra damage as lightning, we shock bosses. And with this, we increase the magnitude of shock, which means... Wait, I can show you. Okay, so basically, shock causes the target to take 20% increased damage. And if we have increased magnitude, this 20% will be increased. If you are not going for low life, or let's say you can't afford it right now and still are playing the normal build without low life version, so without this lineage support, then this ancient augment isn't on your boots, and therefore you can put the ancient augment on your gloves, which will be 40% increased effect of Arcane Surge. Also very good. Okay, so this was the gear. Okay, so now you can see why Oracle is actually so strong for this build. Because we are taking advantage of this node right here a lot. Like a lot. Okay, so again, you can see the whole tree in the link in the description, right? But I'm just gonna show you the uses of this. Okay, so first we get this 100% more maximum rage. Insane. No rage effect. We don't care. We do not care about the standard rage effect of 1% more attack damage. Actually, I forgot to mention that in the intro, I guess, right? This is why we have 60 rage. So normally you have only 30, but with this you have 60. So only because of this we can get the 120% increased spell damage over here. Okay. Also, we gain 5% of damage as extra fire damage. Okay, nice, I guess, but we don't care. 5% of physical damage taken as fire damage. Well, this is a nice defensive layer on top. Also here, very nice utility, faster start of energy shield recharge, and immune to exposure and unaffected by elemental weakness. Very nice. You can see how strong Oracle is. Like, for example, this one node, right? It's 1 point, very strong. We couldn't get this easily on a non-Oracle. And it's just very good, right? For 1 point, it's very, very good. Then over here, well, I showed you this already. Power of the Storm, 50% increased damage if you've triggered a skill recently. You do this every time. So you basically have 50% increased damage. And then here, 20% increased skill effect duration. And debuffs you inflict have 10% increased slow magnitude. Also very nice. And for the recoup, we take 20% increased speed of recoup effects. Also, on top of that, we get buffs on you expire 10% slower, which again is just nice to have utility. Bit of quality of life. From this node, we take Cut to the Bone, which is a very important point to take because we break armor with this. Break armor on critical hit, we crit every time, with spells equal to 10% of physical damage dealt. On top, 20% increased physical damage. Very, very nice. You can take, if you have more points, by the way, for example, this one, unaffected by chilled ground, and 6% of cold damage extra lightning doesn't do shit. In our case, if you would have gain damage as extra cold instead of fire on your staff, this would get you a bit of damage, but not much. But yeah, if you want to get rid of chilled ground, you could allocate this. Also, this one is solid. 40% reduced effect of shock. And if you're on shock ground, you gain 15% of damage as extra lightning damage. It's not great, but it's alright. You can definitely take it if you're higher level. I'm level 93 right now, by the way. Also, other good notes to take in the future, just to say it, in the case you are higher level than me, these ones and this. If you want to, even these three, because this one is also huge. Just to have said it. Okay. Mana regen, curse effect for blasphemy, crit, crit, crit. Also crit and cast speed. And here we have the recoup, right? 8%, 3%, 3%, and then again 80%. Excuse me. And then 28% increased speed of recoup. Now we come over here. This is a bit special. Okay, first of all, we also take this and this and this. 3 very good points. Here again, this is only for bossing shock magnitude, right? It's optional, I guess. If I was level 92, I probably would take out this point right here. By the way, also another good point to take is this one. 15% increased area of effect. Just to note that. Okay, why is this so special over here? So, I have a unique jewel here. A timeless jewel. If I take this out, you can see normally this says all damage is taken from mana before life. 50% less mana recovery rate. You do not want this. If you wouldn't have the timeless jewel, you could not take this notable, and therefore you could not allocate these nodes with your passive, right? With your, not passive, excuse me, with this one. Okay, so what exactly does this do? Your keystones get to this one. Gain no inherent bonuses from strength. 1% increased energy shield per 2 strength. Normally strength gives you 2 maximum life per strength. But we do not need maximum life on this build because of low life. And even without low life, we still don't need it, right? 1% increased energy shield per 2 strength is just better. In case you are wondering, no, this does not stack. We only allocated both of these to be able to allocate things in this circle. We do not get 2% increased energy shield per 2 strength. This right here, this effect only applies once. You need to make sure that you have Line of Verona conquered by the Kelgur. Not another line, this line. Line of Verona. This is very important. Otherwise, you will have another bonus, not this one. This also changes the other notables in this radius. And it's very strong. Okay, we are going to see. 15% increased critical spell damage bonus. This is the least wow one, okay? 10% faster set of energy shield recharge. Break 40% increased armor. Crazy good. Here, the one that I already showed with the increased blast effect duration. Just quality of life. You don't have to press this as frequently. Now it gets ridiculous. 40% increased maximum energy shield, 10% lightning resistance. 40% increased maximum energy shield, 10% lightning resistance. 40% increased spell damage. And increased flask and charm charges gained, but that's just a nice bonus. Again, 40% increased maximum energy shield plus 10% lightning resistance. And another one, 40% increased maximum energy shield, 10% lightning resistance. These four, combined with this, gets us so much energy shield. You can see, if I get rid of this, I only have 6.6k energy shield. With this, however, we have fucking 11k. And with these two nodes, it can get even higher, right? And with better gear, because my helmet, when it comes to the energy shield department, isn't that great, to be honest. You can see tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And my boots are very shit. Tier 5. So, there is a lot of improvement. I think we could get to like 13,000, maybe even close to 14,000 energy shield. So that's crazy, right? It's just very, very crazy. So, all of that combined, let's have a bit of a conclusion right here. We have giga utility options. We have insane tankiness with very, very high energy shield. Also, a good energy shield recharge delay and recharge rate. On top of that, we have Convalescence. We have 5% of physical damage taken as fire damage instead, where the 78% fire resistance apply. For me, it's only 78 because my Ingenuity has +3 maximum fire resistance enchantment. And the fact that you are a caster, you can stand behind, right? You can play passively. This fact also. And the fact that we are using Blasphemy with temp chains, slowing the enemy, even on top of Entangle slow, which it does if you didn't know. This all combined just makes this character very, very, very tanky. And again, bleeding and poison, we fix this with these two charms, this flask, and by investing more into recoup here and here. You could instead also get recoup on your amulet. This is also a good option. Very good for this build also. Again, everything is in the description if you want to read it, if you want to look for the passive tree, if you want to look for the skills. You don't have to pause the video or anything like that. And now we go into the map showcase. Okay, so I've just looked through all of these and I found a good one, I think. We have damage is extra cold, chance to poison hit. Monsters have increased critical hit chance, critical spell damage bonus, and players have less recovery rate of life and energy shield. So this is, I would say, a pretty hard map. On the tablet setup, we have increased effectiveness, and more rare monsters from Abysses, and also just increased monsters. Then I'm gonna show you my Atlas passive tree. And this is how it looks right now. And we have Abyss fully allocated, because I am Abyss farming, and this is the mechanic that just is the most fun to me. Oh, we already opened the map. Okay, let's go in, let's see. So, we want to find a mob here. As you can see, they are slowed by 60%. Like, this is insane layer of defense right there, right? I'm gonna turn it off right now. We're gonna activate our flask. Activate it again. We have our 60 spirit now. Blasphemy on again. Sorry, 60 rage I meant. And now we can map, right? You don't have to do this, by the way, if you have enough damage, of course. I do have enough damage also. I would not need to do this 60 rage strat in Fury, but I still want to show it. Because for some of you, 120% increased spell damage can be a very huge upgrade. That was 2 million damage right there. There's a rare strongbox. Sure, let's do it. As you can see, very easy, right? I don't really lose any energy shield whatsoever. Here, by the way, the chilled ground thing would be great. What I talked about, right? So I probably will also allocate this next level. Oh, we are at the boss right now. Okay, let's see. He wasn't that tanky, to be honest. It was like 4.5 million HP. But as you saw, it's very fast. It's not like a Ice Shot, I think it's called, the Fab Gun build. It's not that, but you still have good enough boss damage. It's not like one-shot boss damage, but very, very good boss damage for sure. And again, keep in mind, my staff currently doesn't have critical damage bonus or critical hit chance. And also, actually, I forgot to mention, I haven't allocated this cluster right now. This one here, I have enough damage, right? So I did not allocate this one, but instead went for the more cursed effect for better slow of temp chains. But if you are lacking damage, take this instead of this for now. Yeah. Just to say. Okay, so as you can see, with the life, no problem, right? Mobs have chance to poison, but it doesn't do anything to us. And with bleed, it's the same, by the way, if you're asking. I have also tried running bleed maps. You don't even get hit that often, right? Like, it's... The mobs are so slow, they can't even hit you. Look at my energy shield. I don't get hit. It's very, very free. And even when you get hit for a big bleed or poison, you have one charm, and after the charm, you have the whole recoup tag, which saves your ass. So yeah, it's chill. It really is. Okay, let's do some of the abysses. So this is this one weird mob that doesn't want to get damage. Okay, now it does. Okay. Actually, we've already completed the Abyss. Technically, the build showcase is over at this point. But for those of you wanting to see more of the build, because you haven't decided yet, I will play another map. And I will see if I get something with bleeding on it. Okay, so this is our second map. We now have also chilled ground, minus maximum player resistances, 18% increased monster damage. Monsters deal 16% of damage is extra cold. Monsters have increased ailment and stun threshold, and monsters have 90% chance to inflict bleeding on hit. Templates are the same. Let's see. I'm not gonna stack my rage this time, because again, I do have enough damage without it. It's just a nice bonus. Also, now you can see how much we are getting hit. So right now into this map, we only got hit once, right? We get 5 rage per each hit. Now it's the second time we got hit. Let's place down one Thrashing Vine here. As you can see, I even go melee range, right? I just do not care at this point. I don't take damage at all. And even if I do once, I can just press Convalescence. Oh, sorry for the stutter. These are a lot of monsters, so it naturally does stutter a bit on my PC, sadly. But yeah, as you can see, just standing in the mobs, we don't really care. Okay, they all died. This was a big hit right now, as you saw. But still chills. Didn't even press Convalescence there. I want to try to pull this one out of the storm. Okay, I was a bit late on my potion right now, so I lost a bit of rage. Well, he doesn't want to come, I guess. Fuck it. We kill him inside. As you can see, these mobs are very tanky. Now it's time to press our Convalescence. We just face tank that shit. Of course I'm playing cocky right now, right? Again, we are spellcaster. We have range skills. With temp chains, there is theoretically no need to stand close to the mobs. Okay, little rogue exile here. Yeah, I guess we take the chests. Let's see what's inside. Huh, nothing. Sad. I have found divines before. Off of these abyssal magic chests, for example. So this map, I think, is definitely harder than the one before. We even have Delirium on this. I just recognized, actually. And let's find the boss. Okay, we finally found the boss. I ran off rage because I forgot to cast it. I think my game just crashed. Well, by the way, here you can see the 32% shock instead of 20%. Let's pause. Okay, we're back. We lost like all of our energy shield, but that's fine. We just press Convalescence. And that's the boss. Again. So yeah, this was all about the video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you have any further questions to the build, or maybe even improvements for me, because maybe I'm still missing out on things, right? Just write a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the build, and see you.